Their prayers for world peace and for this country to come together, let us gather our spirits.
Thanks for everything, Greg.
Little opening prayer. Shalom Aleichem. V'atah Yisrael, v'atah Yishmael, v'atah Yoshvei Tevel. May the Mother of all, on high and below, make peace through the whole world. Make peace for all the people of Israel. Make peace for all the people of Ishmael. And make peace for all the inhabitants of the entire planet. And we say amen.
Just so you know which one is up You can control the drum.
May peace be upon you and upon you be peace. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Shalom aleichem aleichem assalam. Salam, namaste, shalom. May peace be upon you and upon you be peace. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Shalom aleichem aleichem assalam. Salam, namaste, shalom. Shalom aleichem aleichem shalom. Salam namaste shalom.
Good morning. As we begin, please silence the electronic devices that disturb the service. We invite you to enjoy the chapel in the back of the sanctuary and note joys and concerns in both there. If you have little ones, we have a nursery downstairs, and after our service, I invite you all downstairs to enjoy hospitality and to greet one another. Finally, please note the announcements in your order of service with many ways to be engaged in this vibrant community.
morning. My name is Quinn Pace, and I'm Christine. This is the program. And I am the board member. Come, whoever you are. You are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, or your skin, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Here, whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. If you come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, you are welcome here.
Good morning. Some of you know that in a former life, I was a student of medieval languages and literature. And I was especially interested in pilgrimage. And today I'm inviting you to the beginning of a pilgrimage. This music that is here with us today is, as is much music, more than notes and words. It is spirit that will lift us and will lift me as I prepare to leave for Standing Rock. I am getting on an airplane after this service to fly to Bismarck, North Dakota, to stand with the people there. And I have my little tent and warm sleeping bag in my packed bags at home with our dog very worried around it. This morning, Alan and Andalyn and Desert Wind bring their faith of renewal of Judaism. They will be bringing with them, urging the presence in this sanctuary of what we Unitarian Universalists may call the spirit of life, the Shekinah, the divine feminine. They have come to lift our spirits today and give you a taste of what is to come in a dream that Alan and Andalyn and Lou and I all share in our hearts. And that is of having a monthly or bi-monthly interfaith prayer service that will begin. You have those little flyers in your pamphlets. It will begin on December 16th, a Friday night, in this sanctuary, a new tradition, a house of prayer for all peoples. For if there is a time when we need to all stand together, all faiths, it is this time, and it is this day. In that spirit, before we sing our opening song, before we begin this prayer in action, as I begin my way to Standing Rock, I'd like to invite Alan Bachman to come up and share a prayer from his faith of renewal Judaism.
As many of us realize, this has been a difficult week. It was a hard election. And no matter where anybody was politically, it looked like about half the country was going to win or lose. We also lost Leonard Cohen this week. And I remember writing a blog just a week ago past saying, where have all the folk songs gone? Long time passing. Where is, I think we'll bring back If I Had a Hammer sometime, right? Love between our brothers and our sisters all over this land. We really need that. And by this land, I mean the whole planet. Love between everybody. So, Shetashre Shekhinah Pacha, Beinenu, Veti Fros Aleinu Sukkah Shlomecha. May the Holy One cause the feminine divine presence to reside among us, to be right here, right where we're at, to spread over us your special shelter of peace, of completion, where all is united as one, where we all see the common thread. The good news in my faith, in many faiths, is there's a happy ending. Whether it's the Messiah, the Shekhinah, any of these vehicles. They're all vehicles to an ending we call the Nismacha V'Nagila. Meaning, there's going to be a time when we'll all be singing and dancing in joy, all around the planet. And there'll be no more illness or suffering. So we pray for that day to come as soon as possible. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I invite you to stand and sing in body and spirit. Our opening song, number 389, Gathered Here.
We will sing it all the way through once, and then we'll sing it in round. That's why I've asked Lisi to help this group, John to help the center group, Cody to help that group. Whatever you do, sing what they're doing. Okay? My voice is not very good today, so you'll have to sing out in the like.
As Shannon Black lights our chalice, I invite you to think of lighting this light within us that for many of us at this time is flickering and feeling difficulty in burning bright. Together, let us say the chalice words and consider fanning that flame within. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. This morning after the service, I am getting on an airplane and flying to Standing Rock. I will be there for the whole week, camping and praying and being with the people there. And my road there is a long one. My ancestors, almost all of them, are pioneers. And from many years ago, I began a work of reconciliation for the part that my ancestors have played in the tragic history of this country. So as the people are at Standing Rock, I have felt a strong pull to be there. And I will take something with me that is a work from my seminary days when I lived alone in this tiny room without Lou in the middle of Indiana. And I wrote a work about my ancestor, Patty Bartlett Sessions, who was an amazing midwife and delivered 3,966 children during her lifetime. And I interwove her story with the story of the Native Americans of this country. And as I was writing, I would wake up very early in my little room and I would knit shawls as I communed with this woman who looked so scary in the pictures. And she became my friend. And the last shawl that she knitted through me is a shawl of reconciliation, a rainbow shawl. And it is that shawl that I will take with me to Standing Rock. And I will find a place, someone who is there waiting for that shawl. And that shawl is up here. I will show it to you so you can admire my knitting skill. As your minister, you go with me to Standing Rock, but only if you choose. I will not take anyone unwillingly. So don't be afraid. You're going. So I invite you today, and the choir will come up first because they are going to be singing as you come up. They're going to be singing, kind of serenading you. I invite you to come up and give your own blessing to this shawl. Because as your minister, I represent you. And you will be with me in that place that I realize may hold danger. And my ancestors' voices have been calling me to go there. And you will be with me. But I would like, if you feel comfortable, to come up and add your own prayer to the shawl, in silence or in words, as our choir will sing. So first the choir will come up, and then I invite all of you who would like to do that to come up and especially give your blessings to that shawl, which is a reconciliation for me with my pioneer heritage and all that has been happening. It is a work of peace. blessings and good wishes that you have put into this shawl, I will take them with me, and I will find just the right place. And I hope that this work is an invitation to you to find the places in your own life. In mine, it has really been the way that my ancestors participated in what is called by many the decimation of indigenous people. And they were there from the very beginning, and they proudly were daughters of the Mayflower 3 times, daughters of the American Revolution. My ancestor who's inspired these shawls, her land in Maine was given for fighting in the French-Indian Wars. And so that is my work of reconciliation. May my work inspire yours. That is my hope. Amen. And your prayers go with me with this shawl. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And now we will sing the children to their classes. Many are now at a Buddhist temple, a Tibetan Buddhist temple. Isn't that wonderful? But those who are remaining, let us sing them down to their classes. Do you want to do that? The choir was excited to make an arch for you to walk through. So together, let us listen to this bell, and let us hold this great country in the light of our community. I invite you to consider the earth under your feet all the way down to its fiery core, and above the universe all the way up to that place where stars are born. And in our hands, we hold this country, our beloved country. Let us hold all of it, the easy parts, the difficult parts, the people we love, the people we find difficulty in loving. Like a family, we can't only hold, we can't only say hello to the people we like. Today, let us imagine ourselves reaching across the divide. Somehow we can see more clearly today than we could last week, but it has been here for a very long time. Let us look across the divide, and during this time of meditation and silence, I invite you to consider how you can hold out your arms across those places of brokenness. We are one. Our hearts have been broken, for some of us, by this election, and by perhaps all of us, by the months and years leading up to this time when there has been such a divide. May we together find a way to reach our arms across that divide. May we have eyes to see people we initially dislike, hate, with compassion. This is a time for our hearts to open with compassion that has been unimaginable to us so far. May we open ourselves to the light that is among us, to the spirit of light and love. And today, with our country suffering and the world feeling fear, we still bring all of those small things that are so large in our worlds. I will ring the bell, and after that time I invite you to bring those joys and sorrows that are in your hearts, to voice the names of those. And I will begin with Hazel, who is doing better in the hospital. And such joy we feel for the way Hazel is healing. I invite you now to bring your own joys and sorrows to this place. Whispered and spoken in our hearts. May we hold them all and this great country in the light of this community. Amen. Our musicians will call in that light. They are calling in the Shekinah.
Today's offering will be shared with NAHAR, an organization that provides refuge for destitute women, children, and men from all over India and helps them improve their lives irrespective of gender, caste, creed, or religion. Will you join me in saying the words printed in the order of service for our offering? We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share in the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.
We're going to do a prayer that ends every single Jewish service. Jews pray 3 times a day, 4 times on the Sabbath, and 5 days on the Day of Atonement. And this prayer ends every single one, and it's our mission statement. L'Takein Olam B'Malchut Shaddai. To heal the world with the power of the Holy One. We just cannot really do it just ourselves. We need to reach to that which is even beyond us, and which is everywhere and in everything. With the power of Shaddai. Tikkun olam. you say amen, it's like you said the whole prayer.
The Maher Foundation and the South Valley community thank you for your gifts.
Isn't this wonderful? Each of us is born with ancestral strands coming out from our bodies that attach to, in my case, many people staring from family history books like this. My mother said it's because they had no teeth. But I'm never certain. I want you to consider the strands that connect you with the history of this earth. The land my ancestor Patty, my great-great-great-grandmother, the land where she grew up and the place she left to come here in Maine, was gained by her grandfather in the French-Indian Wars, devastating wars that annihilated the Abenaki Nation. Not completely annihilated. There are a few people left, but very few. And she, living in Sessionsville, what you know as Bountiful, she fed 70 soldiers on their way to the Bear River Massacre. And in studying her diaries, I became convinced that I wanted to make restoration in ways she could not have imagined in her time. I invite you to do that with the threads of your own ancestry. That is why I have knitted shawls for some of the survivors, descendants of the Bear River Massacre. And it is why I am traveling to Standing Rock after this meeting. My ancestors' experience has urged me towards reconciliation. And now you will come with me. You would have come with me anyway, for as your minister, and I hope you feel lucky in this, you can travel with me without the fear that I must admit that I have of porta potties out on the range in the middle of the night. I'm not good with porta potties. I know, I'll probably come back with some infection just because I couldn't make it to the porta potties. All these small things that get in the way. I'm not really afraid of the big things in life. It's those little things. 3 weeks ago, the artistic director of the Parliament of World Spirituality, we met him in Central Park, actually, And he spoke with us of a vision of peace that he wanted us to write into a song. He wanted a full-out peace among us right now. And that was harder for me to imagine than I thought it would be. I had a kind of vision of peace that had a lot of what ifs. And wouldn't it be nice? And he wouldn't have it. He said, he didn't say, but some voice was saying in my head to me, what you think of peace is kind of like a mirage. And I had to really believe in peace in order to make the song that you will hear. The song that emerged and has been a kind of mantra during these difficult days. I invite you into a vision of we are one. Don't you love our choir? I do. As I told you, today I will board a plane that will take me to Bismarck, North Dakota, to join the Sioux people, the water protectors, protesting a pipeline that threatens their water supply and important cultural artifacts. For weeks, I have been feeling a pull to go there, and a lot of that has to do with my dangerous habit of meditation and prayer. So first, I must warn you, prayers can be very dangerous for the status quo of your life. If you like things as they are, it may be best for you to keep your thoughts and concerns to yourself. Just saying. When you cry out for change, you have to be ready for those urgings, those openings to make those changes. Often, we hardly think of praying, really praying, until our lives become unbearable. I don't think that Martin Luther King Jr. really prayed. Of course, we can't ask him. But I don't think he really prayed until he was living in Montgomery, Alabama, with death threats whispered over the phone and no caller ID. He took the phone in the kitchen. He took that call. It spoke of how they were going to kill him and his family, his baby daughter and wife in the bedroom asleep. And fear was too much for him. And he prayed, pouring out his fears and asking for peace and courage. In his description of that prayer, he was filled with peace, and that debilitating fear never returned. I don't know about you, but sometimes in the past years, not just days, I have experienced a kind of debilitating fear. It usually happens at night, where it seems like the best solution would be just not to get out of bed. Debilitating, I love that word coming from the Latin, weakening, making weak. Debilitating, a fear that makes it hard for me to do what I need to do. I felt that fear last night as I was preparing for this service, and I pondered being in a tent out in freezing temperatures in North Dakota, going up into the heavens at this moment in Muslim households and in the houses of many immigrants in this country. I'd like for you to consider being an answer to their prayers. I'd like for you to consider being an answer to their prayers of safety for their children, for their loved ones. We have lots of work to do to prevent human misery, for we are on the edge of it. And that is always true. If these months of hateful rhetoric on all sides turn our eyes to what has always been there, we might be looking at a blessing in disguise. I love that. Perhaps we could turn all of this into a blessing in disguise. My image of which was always this strange, like hairdo you would do to be a blessing in disguise. But I think our work looks pretty clear. and each of us has a place in that. And I'm asking you right now to be answers to prayers. When I board a plane today and set up my little tent with the Sioux people at Standing Rock, I will be answering the supplications to go and be with them in solidarity as a person of faith. Those supplications moved through the air and found my heart like a divining rod looking for water. If I had not followed that deep yearning that I began to feel a couple of weeks ago, that deep yearning within me to go and be there, as if my ancestors were calling to me to be part of reconciliation at this time, you know what would have happened? All that energy that I am feeling now to move forward would have gone inward. And pretty soon I would have been irritable and nasty in a very ministerial way. Instead, I choose to walk through my fears. And you could ask Lou, you don't want to see me nasty. And she has, I mean, that's decades together you see people nasty. But I have chosen to walk through my fears because I know from my experience that when I do that my fears will transform. That is the alchemy that those medievalists were searching for. Those fears will turn into a deep feeling of peace and well-being, no matter what happens. And I know from my experience that when that divining rod finds my heart, that I will be led in the direction of what will bring me the greatest joy. I felt that when I fell in love with Mary Lou, and when I went into ministry. And I feel that when I think of our neighbors down the street who have recently moved to this country from Southeast Asia, and I feel that when I meet women who are wearing, how can I tell them, you are welcome in this country, no matter what you on the internet or here. I am pledging, and I hope you will pledge with me, to risk looking like a silly person and say salam alaikum. Reading on the internet, you could say, I love your presence in this country. I love your presence in this country. Take my hand. And now our choir is going to join me. And I invite you to join them. We're going to sing it twice. Sorry about asking you to sing with me when you didn't have the words. That was confusing. I believe that in this world right now, the prayers and supplications of others, of each other, they are traveling through the air. And I wonder which ones are heading for your heart. I am asking you to sit quietly and consider the supplications rising up in this city, in neighboring houses, in this community, and around the world. A friend told me yesterday of driving by a Muslim neighbor who was walking near her house. Her heart urged her to take the time to circle back and talk with her neighbor. She rolled down her window, and after a few words of greeting, they had a 20-minute conversation that revealed her neighbor's fear for her daughter who wears hijab at the University of Utah, where there was recently a rape in midday, and the fear they have for their lives. My friend told her, "I will be here for you. Call on me. I will stand with you." This is the work that we must do. There are members of this community who have relatives who fear that they will be deported. Can we say to them, "We will stand with you"? I spoke last time of my grandfather who was so wonderful with the people of Heart Mountain by creating friendship. And I said at the time, we need to go farther. We need to do more than have basketball teams that go back and forth and dances. We need to say to people before they are taken to Heart Mountain or taken to these horrible places in the desert that I have seen, where people are taken before they are processed to be deported, that we say, we will go with you to those places. We will stand with you. We will be with you in your homes. This is the work that we must do. And some of this work will not resonate with you. I am asking you to find the work that is heading for your heart, because that is where you will not only find power, you will find joy. Use the fear of these past weeks as rocket fuel. Lou and I always would talk about, we get angry about things and then we go, let's use it as rocket fuel. And we need rocket fuel. In this congregation, one of the big things you need rocket fuel for is to overcome your shyness. And I ask you not to other, which has become a verb, anyone. Do not contribute to the divide. Draw your circle wide. Listen to people when they say things you are wanting to scream out. Sit and listen. Find the pain that is underneath. Be prayers in action. I will be checking back with you when I get back from Standing Rock. And while I'm there, I am going to be brave and I'm going to listen to the urgings of my heart, and I'm going to overcome my difficulty with porta potties. I'm going to overcome those barriers between me and doing what I need to do there, to have conversations, to reach out my arms. Your prayers and good intentions go with me with this shawl. You shall be by my side as I watch the supermoon rise over North Dakota. Let us be prayers in action that are answering the prayers of this world. Tune your ears to the prayers of your neighbors. And if they look at you with fear, and you know, fear looks so different on the outside. Fear doesn't look like fear. It looks like, I don't want to talk to you, is what fear looks like. Overcome that. Think, that person looks like they don't want to talk to me, but I think they're just feeling fear. And I bet I'm looking that way too. I bet I'm looking like I don't want to talk to them. And I'm going to reach out my hand and I'm going to say, peace be with you. We believe that immigrants have a place in this community, that Latinos have a place, a beautiful place in this country. They were here before we were, for hell's bells, as my father would say. Those are the worst words he would use. I invite you to see the light that is among us, the light that is symbolized by the light in our chalice. And I am going to take that light, the light of all of you with me, to that place, that expansive place in North Dakota. And I invite you to come on December 16th because we are beginning. It has been a dream that we realized all of us were seeing with Alan and Andalyn and Lou for an interfaith prayer service, a prayer for all peoples beginning on December 16th in this sanctuary. I invite you to come there and be part of that work. For together I know, because I had to write those words, and I can never fake it. I cannot write fake words, and I'm telling you, the words to that song, that was the most difficult song I think I've read, because I could almost feel in my head this sense of, but that's not possible. All of these voices coming up. It is possible. And we must know it is possible. Together, we must be a part of making it so, of keeping that light bright among us. Amen. Amen. I invite you to stand and sing about that voice still and small, because for some of us, that is what we will be listening for. We will be tuning our ears. Hymn number 391. I invite you all to feel what is here. I invite you to feel the peace that is within our hands. I invite you to come with me. And through this week, those of you who pray, pray hard. Those of you who meditate, meditate. I shall be there, and I know that your prayers, your good intentions will be with me. And I will be stronger than just this one person, this one human pitching a tent in the middle of nowhere. You will be with me, and the spirit of life and the urgings to reach out my hands and find just the right elder for my shawl, for our shawl. May it be so. Amen.
We all have a song sheet that was handed out. The ones I did, I ended up in the same situation where I asked everybody to sing along with me, and I didn't pass out any sheets. So I know that feeling. But this is an important line, and it comes at an important time. Many people don't know about it. Many people think of healings in what we call the Bible. You know, somebody was raised from the dead, somebody was blind to see. But the first healing, perhaps, was of the earth. And that's where this line comes in. Most people know the story of the Exodus and the plagues and the crossing of the Sea of Reeds, how the sea split. And the mixed multitude, it wasn't just people of Hebrew origin, a whole mixed multitude went through that sea. But what most people don't know, and I didn't even realize until last January when I had to read this for a special reading, that it was another story that occurs right after going out of the Sea of Reeds, of Pharaoh. And this is an important one, because right after they leave the Sea of Reeds, the earth had reacted to all the plagues and the drowning of the Egyptians. For the mixed multitude had come upon a body of water, and they were so thirsty after everything they'd been through. They had what I call post-traumatic Sea of Reeds splitting, Egyptians dying syndrome. But they didn't have a short name for it at the time. And they were traumatized, and so was the water. The water was bitter. And the people said, what are we going to do? We can't drink this bitter water. There's a great rabbi who used this line too. Rabbi Levi Yitzhak, called the British Rebbe. And he said, you know, God's different than us. We put a pot on a stove, and then we put the water in it. God puts the water in the pot, and then puts the pot on the stove. God also created all the cures before there ever was a disease. And so when they're at this water, God says to Moses, there is a tree right by the water there. You simply have to take that tree, put it in the water, and the water will become sweet. So the answer was right there. Like herbology, the tree goes in the water is sweet, the people are able to drink. And then God says something very important. Ki ani Hashem rofa'echa, for I am the God that heals you. And in this you'll see a line. It talks about God being in love with us. And that part is also very important, then we'll move on to the song. God just doesn't love us. God is in love with us. And when we don't see the secret of God and the tetragrammaton, the Yud-Hey, Vav-Hey, the God that encompasses and is in everything, and we take somebody or harm somebody, we kill a piece of God. When we do that, harm the planet or a person or animal, God goes through a heartbreak, just like we do when we go through a heartbreak with somebody we are in love with. Because God just doesn't love us. God is in love with us.
Desert Wind. Wow. And I hope, I always have to do PSs, but I know that so many hearts in this congregation, our community, are feeling broken by the events of the last days, and I invite you to consider that healing will come not from sitting in the bunker and applying herbs, but by getting out of the bunker and reaching out your hands. And that's the tricky bit. We tend to want to go back into our little places and swear at the people we don't like. I've done it. And I think that if we want true healing, we have to reach out first to our neighbors. And don't read that stuff on the internet. That's an order. And my ministers give orders. I wish I could. I wish you guys were obedient, but I know different. Anyway, if you're feeling really awful sometime, consider how much you're watching that stuff on the internet, and consider that maybe you don't need to. Because anyway, enough said. PS over. This is the time in our service, before I extinguish the chalice, during which I invite any of you who are here visiting or who are coming back after a long time to stand and give us your name and something of what brought you to this place. If there's anyone who would like to do that, I invite you, and I will bring you the microphone. I'd love to have somebody who invite all of you to take that light, and no matter how hard it feels, no matter how angry, don't go into those bunkers. Keep your light bright. Keep your light bright. And have a vision of how this world can come together. And such gratitude for Desert Wind. And I am going to take this shawl and I must head straight out. So as much as I'd love to give each of you a hug, I can't. I have to get to the airport. So I know that your love goes with me. And any of you who pray, I invite you to pray for my safety. And don't look up as I did about what happens. And I'm brave.